Greetings, church family. It is so good to see you, and thank you for joining us for a pastor's show. It's good to see you, Pastor. Thank you for being a part of this today. It's your show, so I guess you have to be. But we've had such a great time in recent weeks at our church. The Lord's been so good to us, and so many blessings, and there's so much going on. And this is our opportunity to talk to the church family and let them know about things that are happening. Before your sermon Sunday, you told us a little bit about staff structure change that we will see coming, and we're going to tell them about that here in a few minutes. But before we get to that, I just want to I want to talk about what's been going on the past few weeks. We've had such a great time. We had the Easter egg hunt, Palm Sunday worship. We had Easter. We had Dia del Nino. We had all these things going on. Tell us about what's that in case some people have been out of town or missed it or just can't see the things that we see.
Absolutely. It has been several great weeks in a row. And I am so thankful to the Lord, and I am so proud of our church. That's really the two ways that I look at this. The Lord has given us, just so many good Sundays in a row. I think it really goes back to the end of 2024 when we saw, I don't know how many Sundays in a row where we baptized, a dozen plus Sundays, I think, that we baptized in a row. And that really created some momentum and just reminded us what ministry is about, sharing the gospel and seeing people come to know the Lord. And then this year, great January, February, but we're really in the busy season right now. And in these busy seasons, everybody's lives are already so busy, but these busy seasons, they call upon our church to do even more, and our church has risen to the occasion. We had a fantastic, Palm Sunday service, both in celebration and summit. We did the Lord's Supper in a little different way. You and Grant both put together just an amazing service that involves so many people. It's hard to imagine sometimes when you think about all of the musicians and the artists and all the different moving parts in both of our services, two completely different services. And it was just a fantastic time. And then we did our Easter egg hunt, which is a way for us just to love on our community. Had hundreds of kids come out, families a part of that, and just a special afternoon. Melanie and her team, as always, knocked it out of the ballpark. Then Easter at the Coliseum, another great Easter, our third Easter at the Coliseum. We had a great crowd. We saw a lot of people respond to the invitation. Great atmosphere. It was just a good day. And two, so proud of our church because it took tons of volunteers spending tons of hours to pull that off. And then all of the invitation. I think I mentioned this maybe in a service or maybe it's just in a staff meeting. Somebody that my wife had invited to come to Easter at the Coliseum, somebody that doesn't ordinarily attend church, but somebody we think a lot of and just know in the community. And when Donna invited them, they said, listen, we can't come, but everybody has been inviting us to Easter at the Coliseum. And that was such an encouragement. But then we didn't quit with Easter at the Coliseum. The next Saturday, Dia del Nino, another children's ministry focus event. This one was spearheaded by our Hispanic minister, our Hispanic pastor Vic and his team. But it was all hands on deck. Melanie and her team were really working there too, and the whole church and the whole staff. And again, hundreds of kids and families there. Specifically a focus on our Hispanic community, but we had people from all parts of our community there. And it's just been, another great service Sunday. It's just been a sweet spirit. We baptized this last Sunday, so that was an encouragement. Yeah, the Lord's been good. I am thankful to the Lord, and I am proud of our church in these days.
Very good. Now, one thing's different about Easter at the Coliseum this year, in a very positive way. We seem to have, I know that the staff and other volunteers in the church are have a lot on their plate right now in terms of follow-up. So something's different this year. Tell us what that is and what's happening now that most people won't see.
Yeah, and so it's been our heart with all three of these Easter at the Coliseum events that we've done so far to be able not just to present a service and to share the gospel. Well, we want to do that, of course, but we want to uh, capture those people who desire to make a response. And people can respond to Jesus without our help. And so we know that even after the services where we're not meeting with a bunch of people, people are still responding to the Lord. The Bible says God's word never comes back void, and we trust that, believe that. But we've been looking every year for the secret sauce to help us to connect with people who want to make a decision, and we've worked hard at it every year. But this year, I think we stumbled on something that I'm more excited about perhaps than anything that's happened over the last month. We just asked people at Easter at the Coliseum to text us, just to send a text, a simple text with their name and what they're how they're dealing with the Lord. And we got a ton of these. And it has started conversations that are still ongoing. All of our ministers have been a part of these. I know you have, and I have. I'm still in conversation with some of these people. And then, interestingly, last Sunday, our television broadcast is 1 week delayed. And I forget about that sometimes because, we're just focused on what we can see. And so this last Sunday, I'm preaching in the celebration service, and usually I put all of my devices on Do Not Disturb, but I didn't on Sunday. I just didn't think about it. And most people know not to text me during the church service. I'm busy. But all of a sudden, my devices start blowing up. My watch is buzzing and vibrating, and I'm getting all of these text messages. Well, what was going on is our Easter at the Coliseum service was being broadcast on the local ABC affiliate, and it had come during that time frame. It had come to the invitation. So we even got a lot of people responding through the television broadcast to our Easter invitation. And we I know we've got a purpose for this that I don't need to just keep talking. We need to get to that. But we even had people responding from the Netherlands who watched our Easter at the Coliseum. Somebody we know from the Netherlands, and then somebody we don't know. We don't even know how they were connected. And those two families aren't connected together. We've reached out, and yeah, it's funny. But we're still in gospel conversations, having gospel conversations with some of these. And it's really, really exciting.
So thank you for that. And church family, keep praying for those things
Mm,
because, again, Easter is not over in a sense. I mean, it's never over, but the work is ongoing. And those conversations, we want to see evidence of life's change, concrete evidence. And we've got a new members class coming up this Sunday. And I think they're going to be people from the Coliseum. They're going to be in that new members class. And
yeah.
so that's exciting as well. But let's
You know,
get to
I know I'm just I'm making this longer than I should, but we have one family. I think they're signed up for the new member class this Sunday, the new member lunch this Sunday. By the way, if you're watching this and you'd like to be a part of that, um, I don't know, reach out. It's probably not too late. We'll find a way to fit you in. But we have one family attending the new member class, the new member lunch this Sunday, that first connected with our church at our first Easter at the Coliseum event, and they've been here ever since, and now they're uniting with our church. And yeah, it's
that's
just
fantastic.
some of that evidence of how the Lord is working through that event and
That's
others. So
fantastic.
so go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
All right. So before the sermon on Sunday, you gave us some information about a new kind of staff position we're creating. It was all prompted by the unexpected departure of Mark and Meredith McClendon last fall. And so you gave us a little piece of that. There's a bigger plan that you want to tell us about. Need to know about. So first, tell us once Mark and Meredith shared about their upcoming move, and my goodness, we miss them so much. So we're so happy they're doing well, and God bless them. But we miss them. But once they told us that they were going to be moving, what'd you do? What was the process? What wheels have to turn to get to us to the next step?
Yeah, a great question. Our first concern was just to make sure that nothing fell through the gaps. Mark and Meredith, they did so many things. They
Yeah.
were involved in so many things. Especially Mark. He was the leader of a long list of ministries. He was the main person that got people connected to the church, uh, both into Sunday school and you remember class and into service opportunities. He really did a lot of the coordination for our pastoral ministry, Sunday school. So it left a big hole, and Meredith as well, her responsibilities. So the first priority was just to make sure we didn't drop the ball. And I'm thankful for our church staff and some volunteers that just stepped up and made sure that we were taking care of people and ministering to people. And I think our church staff really did a good job. I really did a good job with that. So that was the first concern. The second concern really was that we would move forward in a strategic way. What got us here won't necessarily get us there. And so this was an opportunity for us to ask some questions. What do we need to move forward? How can we structure our staff so that we can have a stronger gospel witness, so that we can do an even better job of connecting people in our church? And so we didn't want to just move forward blindly. We wanted to slow down and consider what the real needs were. And it was our priority, whatever the next step was, to do it in a financially conservative way. We wanted to spend less money, not more money. And the Lord gave us this opportunity, to reallocate some of those funds, and we wanted to do that in a smart way. So those were the chief priorities in the beginning.
Okay. So then, following all that, what were the short term changes to make sure that we were covering all the bases throughout the transition time?
Yeah, so Mark led a team that we called here internally the education team. It was Melanie, who's our children's minister, Hunter, our youth minister, Caleb, who does college and missions. He's the minister in charge of that. Vic, our Hispanic pastor. So that was Mark's team, and we called it the education team. And so they really stepped up and took care of uh, a lot of these ministries behind the scenes and the coordination of the ministries behind the scenes. And so that was an encouragement. Grant, our Hispanic pastor, Summit pastor, he stepped up and took the Sunday school responsibilities. He volunteered for that. I appreciate that. When everybody is busy and just hanging on, I love when somebody walks in and says, "Hey, give me more." And he did, and did a great job with that. And then we reworked our pastoral ministry system, because Mark was just really good at making sure nobody fell through the crack in our pastoral ministry. So we needed to have a system that we could do without Mark's head and heart here in the middle of this, and so we did that. And Tom, we leaned on you a ton, and you are the buck stops here, man, for so many things that happen in our church. And you are already operating with a pretty wide bandwidth. I mean, you're already doing like two full-time jobs every week before Mark left, and now two and a half full-time jobs. So appreciate that. And if you want to, you can take a day off maybe in July.
Okay,
So
thanks.
yeah.
It's an honor. I love what we do here, and it's a great team effort across the board. So thank you for that. Well, so then what needs did we identify as we went through all this, as we were watching it all happen and people picking up the ball here and there? What needs to be identified to help us move forward well? What do we need to do next?
Yeah, good question. So, and I've mentioned some of these, but the coordination of our pastoral ministry. We care for our people. I think that's one of the best things about our church is our church cares for our church. Our people care for our people. But there are so many people going through difficulties. There's so many people in the hospital and going through other kinds of difficulties. We couldn't just take care of the people as they come to our minds. We needed a good, robust system. We need a good, robust system, and that system needs a leader. So we needed coordination, long-term coordination of pastoral ministry. We also needed a new approach to our Sunday school ministry. Not that there hasn't been a good approach to Sunday school, and not that we don't have very good Sunday school classes. And we're not about to bust up our Sunday school classes or make some big change there, but we want to be hyper focused on starting new classes for new people that God leads to our church. And so that was, I think that's a big piece of what we need to do to move forward. And then guest services. Uh, the Lord sends a ton of people to visit with us on a Sunday or to an event, a children's ministry event or some other event. So God is sending us people, but frankly, uh, and it's hard to know the numbers, but I think 80% of the people that God sends to us, they're not still around in 6 weeks. They come and they're here for a service or two, and they give us great feedback. We love our Sunday school class, or we love the service, the music, good looking preacher. I mean, we hear a lot of those kinds of things, but they don't stick around, and we want to be very intentional it being sticky. We want people when they come to get connected to um, the people of our church, and we know if we can do that, that they will stick. So we want to be intentional about that. Of course, women's ministry, one of the strongest ministries in our church, and Meredith led that, and so we want to make sure that that continues. Our new member class, we've done this for 8 years now, had new member classes when people joined the church, and Mark did a very good job of leading that. But we need to have that needs a leader, and so we've made some changes there. Social media. That has become the new front door of the church, and so we want to use every avenue we can to get the word out so we can share the gospel. So that's a need. And then we want to expand our calling out the called ministry. We want to be a church. Well, I shouldn't even say it like that because it sounds like we haven't been. For decades, our church has been a sending church. For decades, long before I was pastor. Dr. Reed's legacy in this area is so strong. We've been a sending church. And so we've wanted to just really renew our investment there. And I think in this new staffing plan, we can turn that up a notch or two. And so those were the priority needs as we began to put this plan together.
Okay, sounds like you got you got a lot
A
of
lot of
needs there.
pieces.
So a lot of pieces. So now the question becomes who. All right. So who do you have in mind? What are we doing? Who's going to be called up to help us accomplish all these things?
Tom, the first thought that comes to mind, the traditional way of doing this is you just start advertising for positions, and there are people all over our country who would love to come and serve on our staff here. I know we would have a ton of people applying and sending in resumes, but we've got good people here. I think we've got the best people here, and so as we've approached this, we've tried to utilize our people to the maximum. Uh, so I'll just run through these. We asked Larry Stanlin, who leads our senior adult ministry. The director of senior adult ministries is his title on staff. We've asked him now to coordinate our pastoral care ministry, and he'll do a fantastic job with that. Grant is going to continue to lead our Sunday school ministry. Donna Avra, and Tom, she told me yesterday that I've been mispronouncing her name for however long I've known her, 6 or 7 years, I guess now. But Donna Avra, we have asked her in a part-time capacity to be our director of guest services. So this is not formally a ministry position. It's a director level position and a part-time position, but it's a pretty big position and a pretty strategic position. She will handle our assimilation, helping people Once they have come to our campus for Sunday or for some event, helping those people get connected to the church, to a new member class, to a Sunday school class, to a ministry team, to sing in the choir, to be a part of men's ministry, women's ministry. When she and I were talking yesterday, we talked about the fact that we really need to have 3 or 4 solid points of connection with everybody who shows up as a guest on a Sunday. And so she's going to be the leader of that. She will work with all of our other ministers and all of our other ministries because this is really a whole church endeavor, but she'll be the coordinator of that. We're calling her, pardon me, the director of guest services. She's also going to help with our women's ministry. We'll talk a little later more about exactly what her role is there. Not later today, but later down the road. We'll talk about that, but she'll help us with that as well. And then we've asked Vic, who is our Hispanic pastor, we've asked him to head up our new member class strategy. We're switching strategies just a little bit. We've had a real successful approach, I think, and Mark was the leader of that. But we're switching that around a little bit, and so this Sunday will be our first. It'll develop over time, but this is our first new format, new member class approach. We're going to have lunch, and there's some videos, and so I'm excited about that. And Vic is leading that, and then the big one is Ethan Hollis and ministry residency. And so that's a whole new role that we're creating. And we are recommending to the church that you approve Ethan Hollis to serve in that role.
Okay, so now that's interesting. Different churches do ministry in residence or ministry resident type positions. That's a new term for our church. It's common in a lot of churches, but just kind of talk us through what is a ministry resident position?
Well, let me answer that first from a long-term view. Apart from Ethan Hollis or what the plans are with him, I'll get to those in a moment. But we already, as a church, and as I said earlier, this is a long legacy of our church to invest in people whom God has called to be vocational ministers or missionaries. We have ministers, pastors, missionaries from our church serving all around the world. We have seen some of our former college students go out and plant churches in different parts in the country here in the last year or two. So this has been something that we've done, and currently through our calling out the call ministry, we help these students, these young men and women who are going into vocational ministry. We help them with their seminary expenses. We help pay for their theological training so that they can do this. And that's a way to support them. And I'm so thankful that our church allows us to do that. Um, but the next step in that is actually bringing some of these people on our staff so that while they're going to seminary, distance learning, internet learning, seminary, they can be serving on our staff. They can be working full-time jobs with us and learning how to do ministry by doing ministry with us. And it gives us an opportunity to invest in them and gives them an opportunity to invest in us, really. And so our long-term hope is that we will always have a ministry resident. 10 years from now, it won't be Ethan Hollis, but we'll always have somebody that we're investing in like that. Who knows? The Lord might grow this ministry. We might have several someones. But I want us to have that kind of investment in the gospel, in the future gospel proclamation. And that's the long-term view of this role. Now, let me talk about Ethan Hollis. So Ethan's a young man in our church. He and his wife, Celine. You have Ethan and Celine shared their testimony at Easter at the Coliseum, so you may have been introduced to them for the first time then. But many in our church know Ethan very well. He and his bride, I think they've just been married for a year. But they have been serving in our church for years. Came here through Stephen F. Austin. That's how they united with our church when they began college years ago. They've graduated now and in grad school. Um, but yeah, we know and love Ethan, and we know his reputation. We know his heart for ministry, his heart for the gospel. So what we're asking Ethan to do is to come and serve in a full-time role. This is a full-time ministry position, 40 to 50 hours a week. He's also going to seminary, but that's in addition to this job. This is not just this is a real job. This is a real ministry job. And really, we want to have a 50-50 approach to this. So 50% of the focus of his position will be to help him develop as a minister, to help him get exposed to some of the things that you need to know to be a successful, effective minister for the Lord. And then 50% of the focus will be that Ethan will be moving the ball forward for our church. He's going to do ministries that help us be more effective in our community. He'll be exposed to all the different ministries of the church. I want him to see how children's ministry works and youth ministry works. I want him to be in finance committee meetings. I want him to be at the hospital. So he'll be involved in all the different ministries of the church. But he'll also have a rotation of tasks and assignments to help us tackle specific ministry projects and to provide support for our ministers when they have difficult, busy seasons. So I want every ministry in our church to be 10% better because Ethan is here. And so he'll serve all the ministries of our church. Um, Now, just Ethan, what do we know about Ethan? We gave the church a little bit of a bio sheet last week. And Tom, you put that together. Thank you for that. And we're going to do an interview with Ethan and Celine on the platform, live in both services this week. But I can just tell you that Ethan has, well, he's grown up in our ministry, and he's worked closely in our youth ministry, in our college ministry. I think he worked with David when he was here, and he's worked with Hunter, and he's worked with Caleb. I began to meet a lot of Wednesday nights. I would take Ethan and Celine out to dinner after church, just for us to talk ministry for a while. Really got to know Ethan and his heart. Now, I should say this, Tom. We've got more than one Ethan at our church. I mean, there are some other, I think of KP and some others, Brock. I shouldn't name names because I'm going to leave somebody out. We got a lot of really sharp young men that God has called in the ministry. We've got a deep bench with this. But Ethan and Celine, they just have such a love and passion for the Lord. Celine, she's on staff with the Baptist Campus Ministry with Gary Davis and his team. Many of you know Gary, and yeah, just she does a fantastic job there. She's multilingual, so that'll help us out. In fact, I ran into her at Dia del Nino. She was serving this last Saturday, serving the families there. So I'm really excited about Ethan and Celine and how we can bless them. And so we're blessing some future church that we don't even know about. Ethan will just be with us for a couple of years. This isn't a forever position. It's just a training position for a couple of years. And then he's going to go off. He's going to be serving at a church. We're going to have an opportunity to bless a church with a well-trained minister, a church that we don't even know about yet. But I love that our church can invest in the kingdom like that.
Very good. Yeah, they're such impressive folks, and they've helped to teach my Sunday school class from time to time when we needed a substitute teacher and that sort of thing. They're great, great people. I'm excited about that. But let's earlier when you were talking about the steps to take at the very beginning, you mentioned that you wanted the steps that we took to be financially conservative. So what is the financial impact of all these pieces you just talked about, all these people we're using and doing? What's going to be the financial impact for the church?
Yeah, and you're right. That was a commitment we had even from the beginning. The money is budgeted, and our church would support, no question. They would support whatever we needed to do. And of course, if Mark and Meredith would have remained, I mean, we would have loved that. And Mark, if if you're listening to this, you still got like 48 hours. You can come back before it's all done. But yeah, we could have moved forward, but since we had this opportunity, we wanted to to take steps as conservatively as possible. So all this together, there are a lot of moving parts, but it will be tens of thousands of dollars less per year uh, than what we had budgeted, and so we feel really good about that.
Okay. So, last question, and we probably should wrap up soon, but what are you most excited about in all of this?
No, I think our biggest win, the biggest win that we'll be able to measure, to be able to look back in 6 months or a year and say, look at that. I think our biggest win will be our approach to assimilation, the new guest services, the new member class, a new approach to new member class, and our added Sunday school classes. So it's those three things that really I believe, will facilitate our growth. Now, we want new people. We want our members to invite more. Uh, Jonathan, our media director, does a great job of publicity, and we want to continue that. But if we could just reach the people who show up on a Sunday, we could have a much stronger gospel witness in our community. So I think our focus on guest services, our focus on new Sunday school classes, and on our new member class, our new approach there, that's what I'm most excited about. And then it's harder to quantify, it's harder to measure. But I think Ethan's industry, Ethan's work, his elbow grease, is going to. Well, I think I said a moment ago, if we could improve every ministry 10%, and maybe that's exaggeration. I don't want to overstate it, but if Ethan could just help all of our ministries just a little bit as he's learning how to do these ministries, if he could impact them a little bit, then that'll be a win that we may not be able to point to in a year and say, this is how Ethan improved the Hispanic ministry, but we'll know he did,
Yeah.
and that'll be a win. And our church is just going to fall in love with Ethan. But much of our church already has. But yeah, Ethan, it's going to be a sad day when this 2 years, 3 years comes to an end,
Yeah.
and we send Ethan to another church. But we'll be happy we made the investment in him when it comes.
Well, thank you, Pastor. Your bold and visionary leadership for our church is always an encouragement for me. I know it is for our entire staff and for our church as a whole. It's just an exciting time to be a part of First Baptist Church, and I'm thrilled to be here and to have such great partners in ministry here at the church. It's just a great blessing. The Lord is continuing to keep His hand of favor on our church, and I'm thankful for that. And church family, this is a good opportunity. So Sunday, as you think about everything, you meet the Hollis family, and we do our vote at the end of the service. We ask for your support in all of that. But more than anything, we ask your support in all of this. And so you talk to Donna and Larry and all these people, and Grant as he's expanding his role in a way. And we just need everybody to step up and help us get to where we're going next. It's an exciting time, and the Lord is good. And Pastor, again, I thank you. And let's see what the Lord has planned next. All right.
Very well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, church family. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.